So in this movie, we're going to introduce autocomplete. We're going to begin by talking about what it is, and then we're going to turn it off, and finally we're going to use it to present ourselves with a validation list for data entry. So autocomplete. Autocomplete is some built-in convenience that Excel came up with to help you populate data in a column that already has data in the column. So how does it work? If I'm going to enter another state in cell B13 that's already been entered in the column, if I input an M, that's enough characters for Excel to determine a unique value for B13 based on the values that are above B13 in the same column. Michigan. I'm going to escape out of that instead of entering that into the cell. If instead I enter NEW, I've got three states that begin with new. So I don't have enough characters to define a unique value until I put either an M, a J, or a Y. And now Excel knows that what I want to enter, or what I probably want to enter, is New York. So it offers that up as a suggestion. I'm going to escape out of that. But if I put NEV, which is clearly enough to define a unique value in the column, Nevada, Excel doesn't offer that as a suggestion, and that's because it's the contiguous cells that are above the active cell that you're entering content into that autocomplete takes into account when it's trying to match up the value you're putting into the cell with values that have been put into cells above in the contiguous range in the column that you're entering content into. And all that's necessary is there to be something there. I can put a blank character space, enter blank character space, and I have just made two non-contiguous regions contiguous. So when I put an NEV, autocomplete can now offer up the suggestion of Nevada. At times you may find autocomplete to be intrusive. If I want to enter O into this cell, autocomplete offers the suggestion Ohio. Now I can backspace and then hit enter, and I'll enter O into the cell. But if for some reason you want to turn autocomplete off, you can do that. And we're going to begin using the keyboard accelerators to get to the different places, particularly backstage, because we're going to go here a lot in these movies. And it's the Excel Options dialog box. And we're going to get there by pressing Alt-F-T. And to get to the autocomplete option, we're going to go to Advanced and clear the checkbox that says Enable Autocomplete for Cell Values. And when we clear that box and we enter OH, Excel leaves us alone and doesn't offer Ohio up as a suggestion. So I've turned autocomplete back on because I want to show you that autocomplete doesn't work with numbers. 106054, and that's plenty of numbers to uniquely define the value that's in the contiguous region above the active cell, which is the cell right above the active cell. But autocomplete doesn't offer that number as a suggestion because it doesn't work with numbers. So I'm going to escape out of that, go back to our text values, and then I'm going to zoom out just a little bit to make some room at the bottom. Because what I want to show you is that when you press the Alt down arrow, you'll get a list of all the values that autocomplete is looking to find a match for the content that we are entering into the active cell, into B13. And you'll notice it right at the top, and I just pressed the down arrow to select that as a possible entry. It's blank. And that's blank because of the blank character that I entered into cells B6 and B7. You'll also notice that the column header isn't displayed. So Excel will ignore the column header, which is awful smart of it, I think. From here, you can up and down arrow and make a selection and press Enter, or Alt down arrow. I can just click on a selection and populate the cell that way. So that's autocomplete. We talked about what autocomplete was. How does it work? I showed you how to turn it off. We talked about the fact that it doesn't work with numbers, with values. And then we used some autocomplete functionality to provide us with a validation list that we can select from to populate our active cell.